Welcome back to the Rolling Conversation. I'm your host, Francisco Lima.
And I'm your co-host, Natasha Dillon.
And then today we're going to talk about things you love to hear. Let's get started.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of complimenting your teammates and what that does for the morale in our gym.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny, but a couple weeks ago, I was going to the ATM, get some cash. And they literally left the gym. I was going home. And then they have this random guy just sitting on the bench, and he looked at me, and then he literally just said, "Hey, buddy, you look big." And I like, what? It's like, thank you so much, thank you. And then it wasn't satisfying for him. Like, he literally said again, like, no, I meant it. You really look big. Like, you're a big guy. It's like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. You look awesome too. Like, I appreciated that. And then I literally drove all the way home, like, think about that. And then those like little things, like, literally made my day, because I was having like a really tough day. And then after this compliment, I was like smiling, like, was happy. I was feeling good. And then I got home like, wow, And it doesn't matter if the compliment comes from like a man, like, or a woman, just like makes you feel good. So how you think about make somebody else smile, how you think about make somebody else feel good, how you think about it, just be kind for once. What do you think about that, Natasha? Is it interesting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a small thing, but it can completely change the way somebody else experiences their day. You know what I mean? Like, for that person, there was probably just like a small thought that came into their head, and they decided, you know what, I'm going to tell this guy this compliment. And then for you, it's like, oh, wow, now I feel really good about myself. Like, that was something that just brightens up your day a little. So I feel like we can take that into every aspect of our life. You know what I mean? Like, so we have thousands of thoughts every single day, right? And a lot of the times we think something positive about somebody else, but we are afraid to say it, or we just don't say it because we think that it's going to come off a little bit strange or something like that. But I think if you're able to just share those thoughts, you can really just make somebody's day.
Absolutely. We are really self-conscious about how the people is gonna look at us, right? And like, they wanna think we are creepy, right? Or like weirder or whatever. We don't think about just give a compliment, right? And then like many times in my life that happens. Like, sometimes I saw somebody else in front of me. It's like, hey, you're looking good, buddy. Congratulations. Or you like your clothing or your hat or whatever it is. Like, just like say something's really nice. Definitely change the days. Like, and then why not? Why are we so self-conscious about giving a compliment to somebody else? Because we just like we think about one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality, being judged.
Yeah.
Right? So like, what they think about me, like, who cares, right? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about me? I just want to say something nice, and then that's all.
Yeah, you actually do a really good job of bringing that into our gym culture, because I hear you all the time telling the kids, wow, like, you're so strong, buddy. You're so fast. Like, your technique's getting so good. And when like you as a leader create that environment for all of us to follow suit, it really allows everybody in the community to build each other up.
In reality, I love give compliments to everybody, because a long time ago I learned one thing, right? I learned about power of the words, and then the power of the words, that something is gonna change everybody else or something else or whatever it is forever. So if you use the power of your words to change, you're gonna change somebody else. You're gonna change like community. You're gonna change the world. So I started doing this with my son, right? So I remember when I was raising my son, every single day I was telling him some things like really nice. You smart, you handsome, you beautiful, you strong, you capable, you intelligent. Like, I never said something else like different to my son. Always supportive. And then I believe this environment I created between me and him literally bond us in that way nobody else can break. And then also I helped him to become like a really strong people in life, right? So instead like just see himself as a weak people or like no like strong enough always, no matter who you're gonna look like, buddy, the strength comes inside of your head. No, actually, for like outside your physically or like the way people look at you.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it builds confidence, and the more that you hear something, the more it seeps into your subconscious and you start to believe it.
Absolutely. And then again, let's go give more like compliments and make people feel better. Why not? Bring this type of event into the gym, into the day school. So what do you think about give some compliment to your teammates instead just think about beating them, smashing them, and then after training, like just say like, "Oh, thank you." What do you think? Hey, I think your technique was pretty good right now. I think you like you improved a lot. I think your body looks moving better. So like, what do you think about giving another compliment for like your teammate?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important. I know like there are times where I'm like not having a very good day and I'm like struggling on the mat, and then somebody gives me a compliment like, wow, like that was really good pressure. And that can completely change my day. That can completely change the way that I train, the way I interact with others on the mat. Like it's just the same as any other facet of your life, you know? So a compliment here can completely just shape the way your day goes.
Yeah, right. Imagine like you have like as you said like a really tough day, and then you come to train and there's somebody else who just wanna train you hard. That's like I totally understand.
Mhm.
And then by the end of the training or by the end of the class, you just like feel so beat up. You don't feel nothing. Like, oh my gosh, like my day just, of course, like just train jiu-jitsu by itself makes you feel better because you literally distress everything else. You put on the mat and then right now you feel lighter. But of course, if you have somebody else like to tell you something like positive, that's gonna make your day way better. Like, hey, your technique is good, really good. Like, what did you do right here? Or, I think your body's moving better. It's like small things is gonna change the whole thing. It's like no look only for the big picture, but like how the details to make a big picture way better.
For sure. And I think it can like help you improve your jujitsu as well, just because when somebody tells you you're doing a good job at something, you want to keep doing that thing. You want to keep getting better and better so that you can, continue to receive compliments,
Do you think is literally inside of competition training? I mean, when you go for competition training, right? You don't think that much about your ego, right? You think about just go training hard and then bow. What do you think about when you implement this inside of a competition training? It's like it's only goal to smash each other or like get a little feedback about each other is gonna make your competition training better as well.
No, I think getting feedback from your training partner would definitely help, even if it's competition training. Even in like my toughest roles where I'm trying to kill the other person, they're trying to kill me. Not actually, but I feel like receiving compliments, receiving even just like a little bit of criticism, I think that's like incredibly important because that feedback from your partner is going to be one of the most fundamental ways that you learn. That's what I believe.
I agree with you. And then actually, before you say that, I was literally thinking about a little criticism. It helps a lot because if you just like hearing compliment, it means you don't have to improve anything. But when somebody else tells you, hey, this is not going well, you gotta think in a different way. So that's when you need to check what your ego about giving compliments, receiving compliments, criticize yourself, give a little criticism for like others, and then like make a good balance about that. Like it's don't take it personal because I think you should not. It's just like a combination of understanding what you keep doing good and then what you need to improve.
Yeah, and I think it's really important the way that you structure that criticism. I know my training partners here do a really good job. It's never like, oh, you did this terribly. Oh, you're not doing this well. It's always like, oh, like, well, this was really good, but this is one way you can improve. Like, oh, have you thought about maybe using this grip instead of that grip? You know, it's never in a negative way.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You just like keep in a positive way, and then right now you just like show a little better what
Yeah.
to do because it feels better.
Yeah.
It feels better.
Because, you know, it is also easy to get like your feelings hurt, or at least for
Right.
myself, you
Right.
know?
Everybody. You
Yeah.
don't want to be like just criticize
Nobody likes that.
every time like for nothing. Like you give a compliment and like just telling him like you need improvement.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
And on the other side of things, like if you're training with somebody and you want some feedback, like, ask your training partner, hey, what did I do well in this round? Like, hey, what can I improve on? You know, and have that open dialogue with your teammates so that you can, you know, both improve.
100%. Inside of this ego stuff plus competition, compliments, support, criticism. What do you think about? When do you need to think about your strength? When do you need to think about your techniques, your brain? Like, how those is gonna literally get this big realm together? So, what do you think about it?
Using your strength versus using your technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so when I started, it was very difficult for me to use my strength over people because everybody is stronger than me here.
Oh, that's a lie.
Okay, in my head, everybody is stronger than me here. So, I feel like I have to rely a little bit more on my techniques. And I feel like that's actually pretty typical for women in general, just because when we walk into a gym, there's typically not many people that are our size, our weight, our strength, our gender. You know what I mean? So it can be difficult for us to start at first because we don't have any techniques and we also don't have any strength. Now, I'm a little bit of an outlier just because like I'm bigger than most women. So I didn't have that problem to the extreme extent. I could still use my strength a little bit. But I do think that using your strength can be a little bit of a pitfall in the beginning because you don't rely on sharpening your technique as much because you're able to bully people with your strength and your athleticism. And this can be good at first because you aren't getting smashed. But in the long run, it is difficult because your training partners are progressing at the same rate as you are, and their techniques are going to sharpen while you continue to use strength.
So in the beginning, we don't have another way. It's just like surviving plus the strength, right? So couple months, like training, like years, you start like literally changing the way you think. But do you think even like that, we sometimes like need muscle up? It's
Oh, for sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of the process. And how you feel, you as a girl, when your teammate is gonna like literally muscle up on you because they cannot like use the technique. How you see that like, oh my gosh, that is necessary.
Listen, it's good for me in the long run. I know that. But in the moment, I get so mad.
I know.
Yeah, I do my best not to like show it outwardly because, you know,
course.
everybody's using their strength. Anybody who says,
Natasha, you one of the best fat players I've been watching like in my whole life. Like everybody's like hitting you, kicking you, take your head off, everything, and then you always like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. Even like you dying, but like you fine. It's like actually it's really inspiring for me because and then that's when you come back for the ego, right? Because you got hit, you got kicked, you pulled your hair off, and like you will get so angry, and then you wanna go so mad like for this training, and like give something back to your teammate. But when you got like the breath, like a deep breath, like relax. It was accident. Don't take it personal. Like it's really important. You never take anything personal. And then you come like to yourself. Don't lose your, what do you call the word? Is it like missing right now? Your composure. Don't lose your composure. That's something else is really important. And then you do this like better than anyone. Like it's like everybody's hitting you. Since the day one, it's like, no, I'm fine. Let's go keep on going. I'm fine. Bleeding, I'm fine. Hit the nose, I'm fine. Hit the finger, I'm fine. So, but tell me a little bit more. Like, what do you think about like that strength is sometimes necessary. Like about you do the same. You're like sometimes okay, I gotta do something.
Yeah, I do appreciate that because sometimes I do have a flair for the dramatic. But when we're talking about me personally using strength, I use strength a lot. Like I love pressure passing. I love to like put my weight on people. So I'm using strength all the time. I can't like
Help.
yeah. Yeah, because that's my favorite way to pass, you know? I mean, like anybody who says that strength doesn't matter is lying.
100%. And I heard this my whole life. All my teammates, when there was white belt, blue belt, you're so strong. Don't use your strength. Like, actually, that's the different approach. Like, look, use your strength, but also use your technique. And then, like, what you say, like, strength, and it's like at the best. If you're strong, why not?
Yeah. And, like, if you have good technique, imagine how much better that's going to be if you're strong as well, right? That's why we go and lift weights outside of training. You know what I mean? Like, there's obvious benefits to it. And yeah, so back to my mindset when I'm getting smashed and other people are using their strength against me. Like, I have to remind myself sometimes that, like, this is good for me. It's going to help me get better. It's going to help me learn how to deal with this type of strength and this type of athleticism. But, you know, sometimes you get really frustrated. And, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm just a girl. Why are they doing this?
Right. So I think the point is muscle up. Sometimes you have explosive, right? You gotta go, you gotta do it. It's no wrong. But do this all the time, it's not, I don't think it's necessary. It's like overreacting. Or sometimes like try compensating some things that's missing or your technique or your training. So I think you need to like get the point is, do I need the muscle up every single time?
Right.
Yes. No. When I want to try use my techniques, when I need to maybe give up for that position, they go for another one. Then when they need to understand muscle is not the answer for your position, right? And then of course, when they need to use this muscle against who, right? So like a girl, like I want to muscle up every time because I want to prove I'm better than her. That's the point. I don't think that's the point, but I know that's when this ego always come in the middle of the way, and then we need to check our ego every time. Like, let me think more, figure that out. Like, how I'm going to do right here, when I'm going to step out, when I want to back up, instead like it just push and the muscle and they try smash each other.
Yeah. Since you brought that up, let's talk a little bit about maintaining a healthy ego. Because obviously, I mean, people always say that, oh, like your ego is so bad. But if you're a competitor, you need a certain level of ego to step onto the mats.
100%.
So what do you think is important for maintaining a healthy ego without letting it go too far to the other side?
I think the ego, right? It's your fake identity. That's what I think. I think ego, it's some things we are creating in daily basis, right? When you come back, when you go to training, right? We already know all these beliefs and then all these connections with ourselves and the others, and then that you believe, and then you're going to bring to the mats eventually. But the ego, it's something else, always going to try to control you. And then the ego is connected with your feelings, right? So if you know how to control your feelings, you know how to control your ego, you know how to control the results of your training. So that's when you maintain like a healthy ego. So I don't think training hard, that's a bad thing. I don't think that's like connect with ego. I don't think try win the fight every day, it's a bad thing. I don't think that's connect with the ego. I think it is, but no in a bad way. I think the ego comes in the way when you lost control. When you wanna we are talking about muscle up. I'm training with Natasha. I saw she's passing my guard. Right now I wanna kick her, I wanna punch her, I wanna use my whole strength because I don't want Natasha pass my guard. That's when you lost for your ego, your feelings is gonna get hurt because Natasha is gonna pass. That's not like a healthy ego, right? So we need to understand when you need to control our feelings in order to protect others, and then also to protect yours because you cannot feel in that way. It's like it's no healthy for yourself, right? It's not healthy for others. It's not healthy for you. So why not let people sometimes pass your guard and they figure out what to do to escape, right? So why not let them sweep you and they compliment them that? Whoa, that was really good, buddy. And they back up on your feet and they try to do something else. So you're gonna keep your ego, right, in check when you realize others can be that good like you, and then that's when you start exchanging knowledge. That's when you start exchanging techniques. That's when the people start to improve altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that you said that was really important was that our ego gets out of control when our emotions are out of control. You know what I mean? When we're unable to take ourselves out of a high stress situation and negative emotions into a more positive mindset. And I think that we're all human, we're all imperfect. So we're going to have those roles where we're just not having a good time and our ego gets in the way. We're like, no, I'm not going to let this guy pass me. I don't care what happens. I'm going to push, I'm going to do whatever I can. And I think that's important for having a competitive mindset. But at the same time, it can't be out of a place of anger and frustration, right? It's got to be more out of, no, I want to get better. So I want to do everything that I can to improve in this moment, not I want to beat this guy.
I love what he said. So I want to avoid this guy pass my guard no matter what. He's not going to do that. That's a competition mindset. That's a champion mindset. It's no involved with the ego. It's just you want to keep winning. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. However, when you start overreacting, that's the problem. When you kick, when you punch, when you try be, as I said, you want to try overcompensate because you don't have the technique. I think the mindset of winning, that's important because if you want to be an athlete, you want to go for a competition eventually, you need a mindset. You cannot be nice with your opponent. Oh, you can pass my guard, that's fine, I want to escape. No, that's not going to happen. Right? The way you train at the school, that's the way you fight at the competition, at the tournament. So has this mindset, I want to win no matter what. It's really important. Have this mindset, I want to win no matter what. Even if I needed to lose my control and hurt these people right now,
you got a problem.
You got a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to improve. What kind of technique you need to improve to stop these people passing your guard? What kind of technique you need to improve to keep you winning? What kind of technique you need to improve to sweep more, to pass more, to keep your pressure? Whatever it is, you just need to understand what's going to be your next step to get your techniques better, but no losing control during the training and make actually this training be actually maybe awkward.
Yeah, you kill the vibe.
Right? That people's going to finish, I think it's no good. It's no good at all. So it was a good point.
So you spoke a little bit about the negative aspects of having an ego. What are the positive aspects of having an ego?
The good thing about have the ego, because ego, that's part of you, right? You can deny at all. You can be quiet. You can quiet your ego, but you can't deny your ego. I think the positive things about your ego, it's your ego is gonna drive you for whatever you wanna go, right? So you wanna be an athlete. What's gonna bring you to your athlete? Like the feelings of winning, the feeling of be the best, the feeling of be one of the best in the world. Like whatever is gonna be your goal in life, the ego is gonna help you to improve that, right? Because it's gonna drive you. Alrighty, we have like technical problems, so but we are back.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was going to say about the ego being a major driving factor in us wanting to pursue things in the first place, right? So we can't deny that, but at the same time, we must maintain a balance and not let it drive us.
Yeah, a control, right? You control your ego. You can see what's gonna be the next. I love that. So Natasha, we are talking about competition, ego, strength versus brain. What do you think about heel hooks, leg locks, and then all the techniques nowadays? What do you think about when do we need to bring these techniques in classes?
So you're asking if we should teach the day one white belts, heel hooks, toe holds, and knee bars. Well, okay. So I don't think we should be okay. This is coming from a blue belt with 2 years here training. Okay, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I don't think we should really be teaching white belts, heel hooks, knee bars, and toe holds, just because in competition they're not going to use that for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years until they're brown and black belts. So what's the point of teaching a brand new white belt who doesn't know how to front roll a heel hook, especially since these are like incredibly dangerous submissions, because the rotation of the knee happens in such a way that you don't really feel it until there's damage.
Yes.
Exactly. So if the person that is putting you in submission doesn't have proper control, then you're going to get injured and you're going to injure your teammates, right? Even if you didn't mean to, you just don't really have the proper control of that yet. Now, when should you start teaching these techniques? I think like around if you're a competitor, whenever you're going to compete in that rule set, you know what I mean? I think that like blue, purple, and brown belts should probably have an awareness of when a toe hold is going to happen, when a knee bar is going to happen. They should have an awareness of all the positions, maybe not necessarily starting to attack those submissions until they are going to compete in that rule set. Like for myself, I went to compete in the ADCC Open in January. So we started looking at these positions a little bit more. We started learning what the submission is, how to control the position, and stuff like that. And yeah.
Alrighty, so it's really interesting because my mindset changed a lot since like those techniques start coming up, right? So I believe that before we needed to show those techniques only for brown and the black belts because they are more ready to receive those techniques, I say like physically, and they also to apply it. They are like ready mental. They know when they can hurt or they cannot. However, like another way I can see things today is the best way to protect your students, that's teaching them what to do. So like I can't protect them if they don't know how to protect them. So I believe 100% with you that white belts, they can't see such a techniques. I mean like brand new white belts, like they can't like start like talking about heel hooks, leg locks, and then sometimes I have like people come over here for trials, And then one of the first questions is, do you teach heel hooks right here in the leg locks? I say like, no. So, oh, okay, bye-bye. So, blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, and of course, black belts, like blue belts and the purple belts, I think right now they need to know. They need to know for a couple reasons, right? If they want to go for competition like you want to go or you did go, that you need to know, that you need to understand, like it takes a while to like practice the techniques. It's not going to like be known like in overnight. So it's really important for you guys know what to do and then what not to do. So introduct heel hooks, leg locks, and then all this like dangerous technique has to be a balance. I don't think it has to be teach for everybody because no everybody's ready. But for those people already with this competition mindset, and they also all these students like you don't have to go for competition, right? To start seeing the techniques, but also those students like they are more aware about all these dangerous things, like how you can literally damage one of your friends. They can start to see like you need to make a nice balance when you can teach these techniques, when you cannot, and then also how you're gonna educate your teammates or your students, because if you're not, you're gonna throw something on the mat that can be really damage for everybody. Can be damage for him, for the students are gonna be suffering the injury, and then of course for like the whole school, and everybody's a little bit like traumatized about that. So let's go create like a nice healthy balance. I believe blue belts, purple, brown, and the black, they need to see, they need to know, but who is gonna see the techniques and then when? That's the question. Like each professor needs to understand like who I'm going to start teaching. Like it's no 5-1 right away. Brown belts and black belts, of course. And then I believe is like I met like a bunch of black belts before. They just hurt people, and then I don't believe they're like legit like black belts. If you're a black belt, you gotta like be 100% conscious how to protect your teammate, your students. Like it's like again, how you gonna check your ego? Do not show like I'm a black belt or I'm gonna kick you, hit you, and then like everything is gonna be fine because I'm a black belt.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good and really important point actually when you said that one of the most important ways we can avoid injury and having our teammates hurt each other is to teach them the positions and the submissions, right? So that they're able to use these techniques in a safe way. And I think that a lot of times we have a lot of people trying to figure out techniques on their own, and they kind of just end up in certain positions that they don't know what's going on, and the next thing you know, someone's hurt. So I think that is really important to start teaching early so that people can recognize the position and when it's safe and unsafe to continue.
The best way to protect people is telling them what to do.
Right.
Like you protect them, you show them, you educating them. You're gonna have like a nice communication. That's the best way you can protect. You can protect like them just hiding, because once they wanna see, right now they don't know what to do. That's when the problem started coming up, right? And I want to bring you one more like topic right here, Natasha. So what do you think about, or you see the difference between professor versus coach? That changes something to you, or like it's look like the same? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's important to define what we mean by professor versus coach and the different mindsets that the two have. So when we're talking about professors, I believe we're talking about the people that are teaching us inside of the gym, and they're trying to focus on developing our techniques and mostly just showing us different aspects of the game. Versus a coach is going to be a leader in competition that is going to help you get through the match and going to give you advice during the match that's going to help you succeed. Am I correct?
100%. I think professor, that's the guy teaching, right? The techniques. And then I believe every single professor has to be a little bit of coaching right inside of them. So the coach guides the students like for like a better performance, right? So if you go, I'm like really tired to go to competitions and then see all the coaches like coaches the students like it, and then I swear to God they don't wanna know what they're talking about. You stand up, push, get the knee, and then like what is that? Like that's not what he needs. So coaching, it's like coaching like a competition, like 100% change the result of the training. Sorry, the fight. So if they don't know how to coach well, don't expect your student like is gonna win because it's gonna be really rare. Um, I think a professor, that's the guy, strong mindset, leader, teaching everybody in the class, show them what to do, show the techniques, try improve everybody else, try see different skills, how to get your students like in the different like points. And then the coach is the guy guiding, right? The guy like telling the students what to do in the better way. And then of course, I believe every single coach, every single professor should be like a good coach. And then, but sometimes like no every professor is going to be a good coach, and then no even a good coach is going to be a good professor. They know what to do, but sometimes they don't know what to say.
Absolutely. And I think part of being a good coach, which is something that you do very well, is you watch your students when they're training. And when you are watching your students, you analyze them. You see what their game is. You know, you focus on what they like to do in training so that when we're on the competition mat, you're able to give us advice that is very pointed so that you can tell us exactly what we need to do in that situation based on the game that we like to play. A lot of times, as you were discussing, we'll go to competitions and we'll see the other opponent's professor telling them something completely random that has nothing to do with the game that they're playing because they don't know their student. They don't take that time to develop that relationship and to ask their student, hey, what do you like to play?
Yeah.
You know, what is your competition game plan?
Yeah, 100%. And it's just a combination. Whatever, I believe one thing is really important to me. Whatever you do at the school, you do at the competition. So if you pay attention what your students like do at the school, you're going to know what they want to do at the competition. And then it's going to be easier for you to coach them, to telling them the best way to accomplish the sweep, the technique, and the submission, and they win the game, right? But if you don't understand that much, it's going to be really hard. Like professor versus coach, like this two different things. Don't expect like your professor to be the best coach, and then also sometimes like a good coach, they cannot be a good professor. It's two different variants. It's like one and one, another is another, one right here, one, but they can be both, right? They can work both, just like put in time.
Can you like explain to me a little bit about what would be an example of a coach not being a good professor?
If you think about it, if the coach just like you want to focus on the thing they like, right? So right now you got to bring the perspective for the professor. So if I want to like be a coach and then I like doing this and I want to tell you like you got to do this because you worked for me, right? And I want to guide you on this path. But the point is, maybe this technique is going to be different for you. So let's develop another like point that you know what to do from this path. So, and then you're going to bring another technique inside of the game, right? And in reality, this coach right now, he's a professor, right? Like they are not like, they are separating, but they are connected. Yeah. They are one. So a professor by itself is a coach, but doesn't mean he's going to be the best coach. A coach, he's a professor, but doesn't mean he's going to be the best professor. But they can be both. They can be like a best professor, can be a best coach can be a best professor. It's just like they need to know how the skill they need to work in the different ways. Because one, it's one thing. Another, it's another thing. It's just like how you're gonna find the balance to understand what to do in the in different like roles model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. I think that I think for if you want to be a good coach in that sense, you have to have both, because you're not going to be effective if you're not allowing your student to express themselves in the way that they want to, like with their technique. And at the same time, like you have to, balance that with what they need to learn.
Yeah, yeah. I was like thinking right now, like, is a coach a professor? Yeah, 100%. To be like a good coach, you need to be a good professor. I believe so, but I still thinking it's sometimes one cannot be another. Like let me take it back. One can be another, but sometimes they don't know what to do better in the other side, the other role.
Also, people have different strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah. It's just the way you want to work. But if you want to be, of course, you don't have to be both. Like, right? If you want to be a good professor, you work a good professor. You teach your techniques. You like improve your students. If you want to be a coach, right now you gotta like understand what coach needs to do, and then you need to like understand better your students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the meantime, if you're like a good coach at the competition, but you need to improve your skills better as a professor, you're gonna come back as a teacher, right? And they start like developing more like understanding as a professor. It's a balance.
Yeah, it's interconnected.
It's 100%. But definitely be a coach. I think it's harder. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit harder because guiding people, I believe it takes more skills than just teach one specific technique.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, especially since, teaching is absolutely a skill, right? Not everybody is able to teach. However, like having leadership qualities and being able to like teach somebody something and allow them to express that is a completely different thing. Yeah. It like you have to have a mastery of that skill plus the ability to convey it to another person.
One thing it makes me feel, and then makes me have the feeling, right? I am a good coach. That I never give it to others, or like my students, like friends, my son. I never gave it to them just what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
With my experience, I try to understand what's the best for me, and then what didn't work, and then I try creating this different like pattern. I don't repeat patterns. I don't like patterns that much. I like changing the patterns. So if I saw this work for me, I want to try helping them with this. If I saw it's not working, we got to change the patterns. So I try teach my students like what I think it's important to them, know what's important to me. I understand my people, but I understood me in the first place.
Yeah. And I think we've seen an example of that very clearly with myself, because before I was here, my understanding is you were not a half guard player. You didn't really like half guard that much, but you saw that, I liked half guard and I wanted to play it. And we really developed an entire game around like the one technique that I had at the very beginning of my jiu-jitsu journey. And it's about you being like unselfish with the way that you were teaching, in the sense that you don't have to push what you like on me. You allow me to figure out what I like. And when things stop working, you tell me, okay, now it's time to try something new. Now you got to figure something else out. And I think that's incredibly important in a coach.
Yeah, because everybody has different skills, right? I can't expect the same people is gonna be successful like doing the same thing. It's not gonna work that way, right? We gotta have different tools, and then like present the tools like for everybody, and then like right now, let's see which one's gonna work it better for one of you, and then make them succeed. And then it just like you say, I'm trying being. I don't think about me. I think about you guys. Maybe that's why I'm so lucky having so like skilled and then successful people training with me, and they're like able to accomplish all this medals and then titles in such a short time. All right, today we have like so much fun, and then we talked about different like topics, right? How keep like others smiling, and then professor as coach, competition, ego. What do you think, Natasha?
Yeah, I think we touched on a lot of really good topics today, and I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you guys so much. Do you have anything else?
No, thank you so much, Natasha. I can't wait to see you guys. Bye-bye.